Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everybody, and welcome to a very special INE Live. This has been a crazy, exciting week for everybody here at INE, everybody at Pentester Academy. I am super excited. I can't even begin to tell you how elated I am to be sharing this news with you all this week, to be sharing my guests with you all today, and to be joined by such an awesome organization as we bring you the future of your training. Before I introduce my guest, for those who do not know me, my name is Neal Bridges. I'm the Chief Content Officer here at INE. In this morning's INE live training, I'm sitting down with my colleague and Chief Marketing Officer Scott Cederbaum. We are also joined with Vivek, co-founder of the cybersecurity training lab platform Pentester Academy. Some really quick housekeeping items. Questions and comments are not only welcomed, they are encouraged literally at any point in time in this stream. We have moderators in chat who are anxiously looking for your questions and comments, and will get them to me as quickly as possible for us to be able to address them on stream. With that being said, I can already see that we've got some awesome comments that have come in. Daniel Morales says, this fusion between INE and Pentester Academy will eclipse offensive security certs. Thank you very much, Daniel. We do believe that as well. Giuseppe says this is definitely a breakthrough for INE, likewise for Pentester Academy joining forces. I couldn't have said it better myself, Giuseppe. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited and how hyped I am for this to be complete. We've been dying to announce this to you all and to share this with you all for so long, and we are finally here. With that being said, I want to kind of take a minute to introduce our main guest for tonight, or you tell I'm used to streaming at night. This morning, our main guest for this morning, Vivek. It is actually night where he is at his place. I do have to say something really quick about Vivek. This is a little bit of starstruckedness for me, if that's even a word, right? I've known Vivek for a number of years. I've watched his talks at Black Hats and DEF CONs in the past. I bought his book. I don't know if he remembers this or not, but I had him sign a copy of one of his very first self-published books years and years ago on how to build a Wi-Fi hacking device from scratch. I can't believe that we're here now so many years later, and we're working together on the future of cybersecurity training and future training really in general. And so with that in mind, Vivek, welcome to your first INE Live. Really quick for I can't believe that there's anybody out there who doesn't know you, but for those out there who may not know you, can you introduce yourself and a little bit about your background?
Yeah. Thanks so much, Neal, first of all, for that kind introduction and all those great words. Hi, everyone. I'm Vivek, the founder of Pentester Academy. Very briefly, I've been somebody who's been extremely passionate and crazy about cybersecurity probably for the last 20, 25 years. I think, I fell in love with cybersecurity right when I was at the university, came out, got the opportunity to work at some great organizations with which I was eventually able to do my first DEF CON talk, and then Black Hat, and then security research and whatnot. Time progressed where I finally figured, hey, I wanted to do something in cybersecurity training. And that's how Pentester Academy got started. And things just moved on. And here where we are, where I'm super excited to join forces with INE. So Neal, that's like I think 15-second introduction to the last 22 years of my life.
and that's I think that's great. And I appreciate you being humble, but there's a lot more to you than that, right? You have pioneered what a lot of people have really equated to kind of being one of the foundational hacks when it came to wireless encryption protocol a long time ago, called the Cafe Latte attack. And I don't think that a lot of people, again, we don't talk too much about WEP anymore because of the prominence of WPA and WPA2 and things like that. But can you talk a little bit about what it was like to do that research, come up with one of the first successful wireless attacks back in the day, and kind of what that meant for you and your love in cybersecurity?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of going back, this was roughly 2006 when I used to work for this fantastic company called Airtight Networks. And they were a cybersecurity intrusion detection system company. And I had just joined the research and development team. And at that point of time, there was a technology called web cloaking, which was supposedly stated at protecting web. And what the team at Airtight had me do is really figure out how to break web cloaking and prove that web was fairly difficult to protect. So, I did that research, spent pretty much like a couple of weeks learning all the math, writing a lot of code. And finally, we were able to break web cloaking, and I spoke at DEF CON. So interestingly, right after the DEF CON talk, when I was, still at the office, I started thinking, hey, what are the other things we could probably do when it came to breaking web? And of course, as you said, right now no one uses web, but back in the day, 2006, 2007, you still found a massive number of installations with them. So, I started experimenting, and I quickly figured that there was a way by which you could bit flip an encrypted packet. And by doing that, you could actually convert a GRAT ARP request into an ARP request for the same machine. And if you just continuously replayed that, because, if some of you recall, web did not have replay protection built in, then it was possible for you to generate a massive number of data packets from a web client without even requiring an access point to be around. So when I realized that, it was like an aha eureka moment, because I figured that now you could crack a web network with just a client. So imagine back in the day, the sheer number of installations which had web, and you could just walk into a coffee shop. And at that point of time, you could scan for a client, and you could literally break the web key for the client's office or home network at the cafe. So the way the name came is, Praveen Bhagwat, who was the CTO of Airtight, he basically said, hey, literally, the time it takes someone to go grab a latte and sit and start sipping, you would be able to break the web key. And that's why we kind of called it the Cafe Latte attack, and, gave the talk at TourCon back in the day. And it became fairly popular. And I think Aircrack and everybody incorporated it. And I think people have written a couple of chapters on it in some books, etc. So it's quite amazing. It's an accidental discovery. I wasn't looking for something specific, but
I think that's what's amazing about our cybersecurity career field, right? Or just this industry as a whole, is that you oftentimes get asked to, like, hey, do something awesome, like what you were asked to do, and then you find something that literally becomes such a ground, swell, such a breakthrough transformation, and is something as so awesome as our industry. And so, I have to say that I researched your paper a lot when it first came out. It was one of the things that turned me on to you and to SecurityTube when you were first starting out. But you and I could geek out all day. Obviously, we've got a third person to this panel, a trio that I want to introduce. I want to bring in Scott Cederbaum, who is our Chief Marketing Officer. Scott, welcome to the panel. This is your first INE Live, I do believe, as well, right?
It is my first INE Live. Hey, everyone. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Very nice to meet all of you and have a chance to talk to you about how excited we are to bring Pentester Academy into the INE family.
Awesome. And let's dive into that a little bit as the three of us. When we talk about bringing Pentester Academy into the INE family, what does that mean to you? When we talk about what does it mean to join forces? What does it mean to have Pentester Academy as part of our portfolio? What does that look like to you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Neal. For me, I think it's about technology and education. There are two things I think we really love and admire about Pentester Academy. One is the degree of work and the vast lab library that Vivek and his team has built. We know that the labs are really well crafted. They're very easy to use. It allows people to focus on their education and the lab versus focusing on getting the lab started. I think for INE, we're really excited about being able to take advantage of that lab platform and add it to our already existing portfolio of content in the INE learning paths, which, Neal, I'm sure you can talk about way better than I can. I think the second piece is diversity of access. Right now, we have focused on the INE side on instructor-led courses with hands-on experiences, but we don't have that diversity of lab access. So what I'm excited about is being able to give the INE subscribers additional access to all of the labs that are on the Pentester Academy attack defense platform. And I know we're very excited about being able to come up with ways of being able to bring attack defense subscribers into the INE platform as well.
Absolutely. Vivek, when you and I, we've been on this journey, with INE for a while. One of the things that we identified pretty quickly on was just the sheer uniqueness, as Scott mentioned, about the way that your labs are designed, the way that they're implemented, and the capability that they have at their disposal. Can you talk a little bit about how that maturity has happened over the years and how it's gotten to the state that it's at right now?
Yeah, absolutely, Neil. So I think, I mean, as you know, I've been myself a cybersecurity instructor for over a decade, right? And as an instructor, we've done classroom trainings, we've done online trainings, and I've been teaching at Pentester for quite a while. So really, when I started thinking about the lab platform and conceptualizing it, I had all the pain points of the instructors in mind, right? I kind of figured that as an instructor, the most difficult thing was to have a reproducible lab which works perfectly, every single time. At the very same time, I also figured that everything that was out there at the point required you to connect over a VPN. And that, if let's say you're at an office or, maybe at a bank or wherever, it's just impossible to connect over VPN all the time. And at the very same time, being born and brought up in India, I also understood that it's not that you always have bandwidth at your disposal that you can connect over a VPN and always have excellent connections. Uh, at the very same time, we wanted to make sure that people could access this anywhere at any time, even on their iPads or wherever. So I think when I started conceptualizing the platform, one of the most important things was that we should be able to create any kind of lab environment. So, not just probably, a bunch of Linux machines or Windows machines, but literally even have cloud native applications in the environment, right? So one lab platform to rule them all, and allow that allow that to be delivered over a web browser, so people don't have to worry about connectivity issues or don't have to set up a VPN and whatnot. So I think that's where it kind of started as an idea. And I spent a fair amount of time initially doing research on what kind of technologies we were going to use. This was also a time, I think, Docker had matured sufficiently that you could think about building good quality enterprise applications. So I started looking at all the raw level details of Linux containers and what we wanted to do and all of that, and spent, I think, close to around 3 to 4 months writing out the initial version of the platform, trying to see if I could fit all possible lab scenarios into it. So once I felt like, hey, you know what, we were onto something, and this was something which was unlike anything anyone else had. The tech team sat down and built a massive number of lab exercises. I mean, if you still talk to them,
When you say massive, not
Yeah.
to interrupt you, but let's talk about massive. I mean, you've got over 2,200 hands-on labs on that platform. Like, I want people to understand, when you say massive, it's
Correct.
truly massive.
And the most unbelievable thing is, in the initial phases, there was literally just, the four great folks in our technical team, Nishan, Jeswin, Ashish, Shivam, just these four guys who've actually cranked out all these 2,200.
Mm.
So one important thing was we wanted the platform to be, I would say, adaptable enough and easy to use so that instructors could create labs very easily. And kind of fast forwarding from there, the platform started maturing. Eventually, I had Jeswin kind of take over so that he also started building in a lot of the newer features. And then we started seeing the whole community starting to appreciate what we had built, and it almost has some kind of a catalytic effect, right? You see people enjoying, and then you start building more and more. So I think that's really how everything started, and we are exceptionally proud. I'm super proud of what the team has achieved in a short duration of time, and what all the guys have done. Literally, the whole team has put in 16 hours. I mean, like, even weekends and whatnot, for almost like 2.5 years to get this done. So where we are, I think full credit goes to my team. I mean, I'm here, but ideally, those guys have been doing a lot of the hard work. So, I get to enjoy it.
I think it is a testament to just the sheer popularity that I can see inside a chat and that we've seen on the socials since this has gone live. That is a testament to just how successful your lab platform is. One of the things that I did see a question from a LinkedIn user. Basically, what this fusion means for the future of Pentester Academy. I want to flip that on you just a little bit, Vivek, and say, why did you take the conversation between Richard, the CEO, and myself when this was first brought up?
Right. So I think, I mean, Richard and I, we had multiple conversations, and very soon I figured that, INE had a very grand vision, which was beyond cybersecurity, right? So initially, we were using the labs just for cybersecurity. And once I spoke with Richard and Neal, you and I had multiple conversations after that as well. And what really attracted me was this grand vision that not just cyber security, but IT, cloud, DevSecOps, and whatnot. So INE had a very grand vision, and I really felt like cybersecurity could be a great part of it, but our lab platform could be very easily reused, pretty much to run any kind of lab. And that was super exciting to me because ideally when you build something so powerful, you want to kind of unleash that power and see what it can achieve. So the more discussions I started having with you and Richard and everybody else on the team, I started seeing like, hey, this is going to be a great fit. You have fantastic instructors, awesome cognitive content, all beautifully made, and we have this platform almost waiting for all of those instructors to jump in and kind of in a way like unleash their own creativity and build all this out and take it to the massive audience that you guys already have. So in a way it was like a match made in heaven, and I absolutely loved all the conversations with even the tech team, Santiago, Martin, everybody, and I'm just glad things worked out, and here we are joining hands and going towards like something even greater than the sum of the parts.
And that's what I love about the vision that you and I share, is that we do see the bigger vision here about how we could transform training across multiple verticals in our IT portfolio. Scott, I know that you've got a huge history in data science and in cloud work, and you've recently come from an organization where you got to dive headfirst into cloud. When you hear that type of statement from Vivek, and when you think about the vision of where we're going with INE, like you must be giddy with excitement when we talk about this.
Oh, I can't even begin to tell you. When I came out of an organization that was 100% server closet steel, like literally in our home office up in Canada, we had a massive server closet. When I came in, one of the charges I had was to shut that thing down, return all the steel, get rid of the fans, and turn it into a storage closet, and move everything into Microsoft Azure. And I was dealing with an entire team of people who had never really touched Azure whatsoever. And to think about the fact that if this was 2 or 3 months from now, 6 months from now, I could have sent them into INE and had them do their practice in an actual lab environment versus having to practice in a place where we were spending a lot of money learning what worked and what didn't, and when to shut things down and when to keep things online. It would have made a massive difference. So I couldn't be more thrilled about the fact that we're able to take this fantastic lab technology that's working amazingly on the cybersecurity side, unleash it in areas where we just haven't been able to have the type of hands-on content that we've wanted. Whether that's networking, where there's a hard degree of work that has to be done to move into the rack rentals and the tokens, and using the physical hardware that we have in our data center, whether it's cloud computing, where we're usually asking you to go directly into a container, or even with data science, where we can set up projects and teach you how to move data around or how to run virtualized multi-processor algorithms. It's going to be an amazing change for every single vertical that we are providing training on.
Absolutely. And this wouldn't be a Neal stream if I didn't decide to put both of you on the hot seat. So good job. We've patted each other on the back. We've had some good conversations. We're all super excited for this. Let's get down to brass tacks, right? Let's give the viewers exactly what it is that they want to talk about. Vivek, now that we're together, now that we're, it's all under one umbrella at INE, how do you see the future of training?
Yeah. So I think, Neil, the future of training is going to be absolutely, completely hands-on. And I think gone are the days where, you could just watch a bunch of videos and, expect that the student would recreate everything locally, right? Because everything is the cloud now. And it's almost impossible for students to do what, they were doing maybe a couple of years back, where they had VMs and VirtualBox and VMware and all of that. And you remember those, I wouldn't say good old days, but probably like, bad old days where everyone was struggling, just to get the, I would say, the network correct so that you could locally test things, right?
Yeah.
And I think the whole industry has been struggling with that. Is people want to ramp up on technology as fast as they can, simply because technology is moving at breakneck speed, right? By the time you've learned S3, Amazon has already released like a couple of new policy types on S3. And that's something you want to learn the very next day, if not probably the same day. And this is only possible if you have a living, breathing lab platform which is tracking technology itself. And that is only possible if your platform is cloud native, if your platform literally is a replica of how the real world environment would look like. So I think gone are the days where you could just rely on a CTF style kind of learning, or a learning where you are watching some videos trying to hack up a local setup. I think the future of training is going to be real world environments being served to students exactly as is, where they can find out and learn pretty much how technology is changing and shaping in real time. And that's the only way that they can probably stay abreast with whatever is going on.
It's great that you mentioned that, because I get this question a lot in my own live streams, right? Which is, Neal, what do I need to do to build a home lab? And I think that with the way that technology changes, and with the way that you need to stay abreast on attacker TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, the latest exploits, the latest cloud technology, the latest algorithms for machine learning and data science, I don't think it behooves the student anymore to worry about building their own home lab. I think that this is where you have to rely on companies. I see Scott shaking his head. You want to jump in there, Scott, and have an opinion on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. We're living in a world where so many of the tools and what we're trying to do are cloud based, that trying to build a home lab becomes increasingly difficult, and quite frankly expensive. I have an analytics server. I'm a huge nerd, so like one of the things I like doing in my spare time is forecasting elections across the world. So it's just it's fun, and I find it. So I've got an analytics lab up in AWS, and again, it was extremely expensive for me to get that thing up and running. And it's not a good example in this particular case, but everything's in the cloud. Most of what people are going to be doing is going to be some form of trying to get into a system that requires cloud access. And what I love about what we are going to be able to do with the Pentester Academy lab platform is that we're going to be able to build real world examples very quickly that go into one of two places. One, which is the traditional INE educational platform. And Neal, I know I'm taking some of your thunder, but I think we're 100% on the same
Go for it.
page here. Where
Have at it.
when you walk into a course and we're teaching you these concepts, we're going to have labs that work on demand. You press play in the INE platform, even from your iPad, as Vivek just said, and you can start doing the course material. But then on the other side of this, what I love about this merger is that we have Pentester Academy and the attack defense platform, where we can then send you to over 2,000 labs, and what I hope will be 3,000 and 4,000 labs over the next while. Again, putting Vivek and Neal on the spot here on behalf of our user base, where you can continue honing your skills and practicing. Because what we know about education is it's not just about learning the concepts or practicing the concepts once or twice, but it's about practicing the concepts over and over and over and over again. You can't call yourself a data scientist if you've run one random forest. You need to be able to have done it over and over again in different environments. And that's what's so great about, I think, INE, is that we can teach you the concepts over there and give you that initial experience. And then with Attack Defense and Pentester Academy, we're going to be able to give you the ability to practice over and over and over again until you've built that strength. And you actually are able to do this in multiple environments versus the one that we've handed to you, or the couple that we've handed to you as part of the learning path.
So Scott, thank you so very much for the very awesome marketing answer. And since you enjoyed that one so much, we're gonna continue to push you on the brass tacks issue. And there is some very, very explicit conversations going on in chat right now. People want to know, in no uncertain terms, in as direct a fashion as possible, what does this mean for their current subscriptions, either on the INE platform for the INE Premium subscribers or for the Pentester Academy subscribers?
That's a great question. And like we've been saying in our communication thus far, nothing's going to change. I've seen a number of people worried about price increases, either on their attack defense subscription or their INE subscription. There are no plans to do price increases. I've also seen people asking, does this mean I now have access to INE, or do I have access to attack defense? The answer on that one is going to be no. And the reason why we're in that direction is because we view them as different products. Again, from the INE perspective, INE is about learning, and it's about learning concepts and having the ability to test concepts. Are we going to take advantage of the attack defense platform and add new labs, update our labs, add more labs to the learning paths that you already are enjoying and learning from? Absolutely. But attack defense is going to be out there as a lab experience where you can go and get more experience in what we've already taught you on the INE side. So what does that mean overall? Over the next coming weeks, I would expect that you will start seeing some really nice introductory offers. So if you are an INE customer and you're really raring to get into the attack defense platform, we're going to make sure that we make that easier for you. And we'll have more details on that as soon as we're ready to release that. And the same for all the attack defense customers, people who have done Pentester Academy boot camps in the past. We're going to give you a really nice introductory offer to be able to come into INE and start utilizing the entire INE platform. So no, the merger does not mean that you're going to have immediate access to INE if you're a attack defense subscriber. If you're an INE subscriber, you're not going to have immediate access to the entirety of the attack defense library. But we are going to come up with ways to be able to make that access easier for all of you. To acknowledge the fact that you've been subscribing to one of the two services over the last little while, we want to make sure that you have access to these to the new platforms that you may not have used in the past.
And on that note, right, you talk about the pricing from a subscription perspective. And Vivek, I think this is probably more for you and I, so feel free to jump in here at any time, because I know you and I have had a lot of conversations about this. That does not mean that we're not going to start leveraging the wonderful technology and innovation that you all have done on the Pentester Academy side for content moving forward. I can definitively say right here that we are in the midst of a pen testing student rewrite that is leveraging the labs that you've got currently and any new labs moving forward. We are now that this is closed, we are excited to be branching your platform and the innovations that you've done into AWS, into a lot of our AWS stuff that we've for those who have participated in the beta certifications for AWS and Azure. We're now going to take Vivek's the Pentester Academy technology, and we're going to apply that awesomeness to Azure, to AWS, maybe GCP, depending on how GCP continues to see its market share rise in the industry.
Come on, you want to do GCP, Neal. Let's go.
Hey, all three people who are on GCP get to have GCP labs. Gotcha, Scott. Gotcha. But I think that's from our perspective is that starting literally today, the team is looking for all those opportunities for us to bring all of that awesome innovation into the INE platform. Vivek, I don't know if you want to hit on that or talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Neal. And I think one of the things which we kind of did right when architecting the whole platform is we made everything an API. So just to add to kind of what you said, it should be fairly fast for us to be able to integrate all the requirements for INE, your instructors, and all of that, and kind of plug that into our system and get the labs ready. So I'm super excited. My team is currently working and seeing how we can incorporate all of that. One of the things I don't know if I'm allowed to say or not is hush hush, the whole exams part, which you kind of
no. We're not going to say that one yet. Well, hold on to that one. Hold on to that one just a little bit.
So
all my audience out there is like, oh, we were about to get some cyber secrets. Not yet.
So I'm going to leave it like cryptic there, but yeah, I mean the awesome part really is that it should be fairly easy to integrate and start looking at how we could offer cloud native labs, beginning with AWS and as Scott was mentioning, and then moving forward to GCP and other platforms as well. And that is super exciting, is like how INE students are going to use that, what kind of, new requirements will they come back to us with and all of that. So yeah, super excited. And I'm guessing it should also happen very fast, Neal, what you, me, Santiago, Martin, rest of the team have been discussing.
Yeah. And I think that's when I think about the excitement and the hype that gets generated around this acquisition, that's probably the part that gets me so excited, because I agree with you, right? We just talked about just the excitement that comes around with having a dynamic, interesting lab environment that students can dive into. When you marry the API-driven approach that you've got, the flexibility, the containerization, the modularization that you've built into your platform, and then you combine that with a lot of our instructors who have spent decades of their life, doing cloud, doing cyber, doing development, doing networking across our entire verticals, and they can build real world scenarios in a rapid fashion, like what's on your platform. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't even begin to say it. Go ahead,
And
Scott.
I'm totally excited. I've spent some time trying to talk to users over the last couple of months. I've recently joined the Discord. I've been talking to people over there, and one of the pieces of feedback I've been hearing consistently, and it's been so hard to bite my tongue, is I've been taking the Azure fundamentals or the AWS fundamentals or the cloud fundamentals, and I just wish it had more of a real world component. And I'm like, yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? And knowing that this was in the works for a while, we knew we were heading towards the real world component. There's a reason why, despite the fact that you all have really helped us with the beta, that we haven't fully released all of the course materials and the certifications. It's because we wanted to make sure that INE has always stood for real world practice, real world challenge. We wanted to make sure that those certifications, that those courses get augmented with a real world lab environment. And now that we've joined forces with Pentester, we're going to be able to provide that to all of you. So I think that's what has gotten me so pumped throughout the last few weeks. Is I know that, like, looking through our entire catalog, when we're looking at what the next updates mean, despite whatever vertical it means much easier to use hands-on labs that are going to really reinforce everything that we're teaching. And it really does go on the INE side well beyond cybersecurity. And I think, just as importantly, as we think about the future of attack defense, and I'm putting words in Neal and Vivek's mouth, I think it also means, how can we think about other ways to add those additional challenge labs into attack defense? So it's not just about attack defense anymore, but it does become a lab challenge ground, so that you can continue that practice. I was talking to someone yesterday describing what I think about the difference between what INE is and what attack defense is. And I think, for me, if there's any golfers out there, it kind of works like this. I know Neal loves golf, so he's going to love this. When you go and you have like a pro teach you how to golf, and it's not like you're doing that in a classroom without a golf club in your hand. You're at a driving range, you're at a golf course. You swing the golf club, and they help you. They're teaching you. They're walking you through it. What I view attack defense as, and the future of it for all the verticals, attack defense is when you go to the driving range and you're just hitting balls. It's when you go to the putting green and you're hitting balls. It's designed to make sure that you take what you've learned from the expert instructors, and you can over and over and over and over again challenge yourself in different scenarios to make sure that you actually understand the concept in totality versus understand the concept in this narrow, and we try not to be narrow, obviously, but I teach at a university, and there's only so many examples you're able to get out in any type of training setting. So the only way to really be able to build that muscle is by practicing over and over and over again.
I think it's funny that Scott brings up a driving range experience. So I just have to tell chat this for a second, right? Is we took a Scott and Richard and Josh to a driving range, and there was almost a very, very tragic accident that happened. So I think it's Scott. I want to give you a huge amount of applause that you were able to come up with one good golf analogy despite your performance at the driving range the last time that we
I
went.
was not responsible for the accident at the driving range, to be fair. So
Vivek, let's put you back in the hot seat again, because one of the things that you had to contend with over at Pentester Academy was you developed your own certifications. We know that the certification space inside of cybersecurity specifically is very contentious. It's a very hard space to be in. There's a lot of long-standing players in that space. It's very competitive. INE recently, with our beta certifications, we've started to dip our toe into that space with our cloud certifications, and obviously when we bought ELS, we've got certifications that came with that. What to you has been the hardest part about trying to build certifications coming out of Pentester Academy?
Yeah. So Neal, I mean, that's a very good question, and my answer might be controversial, which is like, not everybody's going to agree with it. But
we love it.
So my 2 cents is, if you kind of go back 10 years, 15 years, you could have certifications which basically were like, pen tester expert, pen testing expert and whatnot, right? But if you look at today, there's no way you can call somebody a pen testing expert without specifying the technologies, right? There is just too much out there to just call somebody, a pen testing expert. So I think our 2 cents, when I was starting to look at least designing some of the newer certifications, was that what companies and enterprises are looking for is being able to validate skills in specific domains, right? So people would basically want to know that container security, right? Or AWS security. And that is really where what we started doing was focusing on micro certifications by picking up topics like AWS cloud security or container security, Wi-Fi security. And we kind of felt that a lot of enterprises, when they started looking at those certifications, appreciated it more, because now those skills were very tangibly mapping to job roles and things that people were actually doing in the real world. So I think, in my humble opinion, the way the certification map is going to evolve is, at one time, of course, we had these broad sweeping
Hmm.
certifications like ABC pen testing expert and whatnot. I
Hmm.
think in the future you would need a lot more micro certs which are extremely hands-on and are able to narrow down and validate specific set of skills and technologies rather than making broad claims.
And this is what I love about having you on the team, right? Because I think that that very much speaks to kind of our focus too, in terms of looking at a learner's career and helping them progress through milestones of their career, not just solving point problems, not just worried about how do I just become a pen tester or how do I just become a cloud support engineer, right? We know that that's not where you're going to stay through your entire career. And so, how do we build a roadmap that gets you from that beginning to the end with the appropriate set of milestones along the way? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely, because I think, once again, comparing, since the time when we started learning versus now, at this point, when a beginner is about to start a topic, he absolutely has no clue where to begin and what is the, kind of learning path that he should take. What are the different skills he needs to kind of pick up so that he could go about, kind of achieving probably a certification which can get him a job.
Mhm.
So I think Neil absolutely on board, which is having proper learning paths, guide people, right from the beginning to understand how they can get things accomplished. That's actually going to be a huge game changer.
And just I see some questions coming up from chat. Looks like there's some questions centered around certifications. Let me talk really briefly for chat about the future of certifications and kind of where INE's vision and model is when it comes to this concept of certifications, right? Obviously, we mentioned during our Redefine event, that we're going to be focusing very, very heavily on career paths, and I'm excited to say that we are still on track to meet our Q4 promise to you all, regarding career paths. We did step our toe into the certification arena with this idea of doing the cloud certifications that a lot of you have participated in from a beta perspective. I think we've used certifications, kind of as those milestones of your career path, and we do want you to be certified as an expert in those specific areas that help you to achieve the job role that you need to be successful in your career. And so, as Vivek mentioned, and as we talk through like what that looks like in the transformation, what I would say is that right now, all of you who are legacy ELS, certificate holders, you all still continue to hold your legacy ELS certs. All of you who are legacy Pentester Academy, certificate holders, continue to hold your Pentester Academy. We are going to be moving towards a model where we're going to be bringing all the ELS content in, all the Pentester Academy content in, and really accelerating that advancement of your career by then producing the best of the cognitive content that we got from ELS, the best of the demonstrative hands-on content that we got from Pentester Academy, and really putting forth for you a certification program that when your employer sees that you have a certification from INE, that you truly are an expert. Now, you could be an expert as a cloud support engineer because that's where you are in your career path, or you can be an expert at a cloud architect because that's where you are in your career path. And that's our vision, is to be able to pull that stuff together to be able to give that to you. And so what I would say for those folks who are worried about their certifications, don't worry about the legacy ELS certifications. Don't worry about the Pentester Academy certifications. Let's continue to focus on moving forward together and continuing to look towards what we're going to build by bringing this technology, by bringing this, this innovation together and producing the next level of certifications that then take all of you to that next level as well. I'm excited to say that I'm super proud of my team. Jack Reedy, Josh Mason, and Alexi Ahmed are crushing it when it comes to doing the PTS update that's coming on. There will be a PTS update. There will be an EJPT update. As you could tell, we've all been super excited for this acquisition to close so that we could bring you this innovation and this advancement with all of that content coming together. And so that's for those folks who are interested in the certifications, that's what I would generally say is kind of the best way to frame the future of certifications at INE. Let's talk about boot camps a little bit, Vivek, because one of the things that you recently started doing this year is you started to introduce a lot of additional boot camps on the Pentester Academy platform. Can you kind of talk about kind of what your thought process is on that instructor-led, instructor-driven type of content?
Right. So Neil, that's a great question. So I think with COVID-19 happening and nobody could go to real world trainings anymore, right? And what I saw at that point was that many organizations were pretty much just taking those 16-hour trainings and putting them online as webinars where people had to attend 16 hours sitting in front of a computer. And we all know that doesn't work, right? I mean, you go to Black Hat and other places for a live training, not just to talk to the instructor, but enjoy those conversations with your peers. So it's impossible for people to sit in front of a computer 16 hours straight and learn. And that's really where what we felt was that, hey, rather than go ahead and force feed people so much of information in a webinar, why not break up the 16-hour experience or the 8-hour experience into 2 to 3 hours a week spread over 4 to 6 weeks? And I think this was, very different from what we were seeing, many other folks do. And we said, hey, even during these 4 to 6 weeks, we will have Discord channels where people can ask questions. We'll give you lab exercises so that you get a lot of time to slowly go through what was taught in those 2 to 3 hours, practice live in our labs, ask questions to the instructors, and then come all charged up, to hour 3 or hour 4. And Neil, you can probably correlate how it feels like when you're in an 8 to 16-hour class, and after 4 hours, you suddenly lose touch with what's happening, right?
I lose touch with what's happening on a day-to-day basis anyway, just because of the pace of the world. But yes, I get what you're saying, and I think we share the same vision there as well, right? Because INE recently this year as well, we started to do more of the boot camps. We moved away, when INE was first founded. For those who were interested in the history of INE, right? A lot of the networking stuff was in real life training, in a boot camp type fashion. But I think to Vivek's point, what we realized as well, especially in a COVID world, especially when you start to look at the global dispersion of people that you have out there, when you take a course that may be 40, 60, 80 hours or something like that, and you start to pick the parts where you know that students struggle, right? If students struggle with encryption, if students struggle with IAM on cloud, if students struggle with securing S3 buckets, right? Or, IP addressing in the networking space, right? If you take that and you break that into a 3-day class, and you're able to offer that 3-day class that says, here's your chance to get one-on-one with an instructor who wrote the class, who understands the class, and be able to get some in-depth conversations around that, I think that is incredibly valuable to the learner. And I think that is also what has contributed both to your success and to INE's when it has come down to breaking down those barriers in making experts expert.
Absolutely, Neil. I totally agree with you on that. And I think, boot camps are here to remain because in a post-COVID world, I think people still need to learn things. I would still crave talking to instructors and doing all of that doubt clearing. So absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, 100%. So with that being said, I'm gonna flip this on you, Scott, because you're not getting away from this one without answering a question either. We're gonna go right over to you for pricing. Blunt, direct question: what does this acquisition mean for pricing for boot camps for anybody who's a PTA subscriber or an INE subscriber?
Yeah, great question. So there's a couple of products that Pentester Academy offers that go beyond attack defense. I'm really excited to say that we will be continuing to offer all of those products. So for those red team labs, if any of you have taken them, those are awesome. Those are going to continue to exist. There'll be some slight pricing tweaks that we'll be making and announcing, but we are excited that we're going to get those going and get those back up. The boot camps associated with those red team labs are also going to be coming back soon. So look for those. Hopefully, I actually think I can say this. Hopefully in November, and we'll get some pricing out there. For INE customers, Vivek's boot camps, the Pentester Academy boot camps, these are extensive. They are, as he just said, they're weeks and weeks and weeks. And when we look in the marketplace, we know for a fact that boot camps like this, we see similar quality, if not a little bit lesser quality, being offered by universities in the U.S. like George Washington or Harvard that cost $10,000 to $15,000. I'm not saying that to say we're going to raise the prices at all on these, but just to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of work that goes into the prep for these boot camps. We will make sure that there is pricing that's available for both Attack Defense and INE subscribers. But if you are taking one of these more extensive Pentester Academy boot camps, there will be a charge associated with that, just like there is today, and we'll make sure that we get pricing out to all of you as soon as we announce the next boot camp. I'm also excited to say that if you are one of our nearly 100,000 starter pass customers, Neal, I can't believe I'm saying that at this point, but 100,000, we're really close on that one. We'll also have special pricing for all of you. If you see a boot camp popping up on the Pentester Academy side that you want to join on. So we're going to get those back up in November. We have pricing in front of you. So make sure if you're not following us on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, we're going to announce all of that there. You'll get emails from both Pentester or INE if you're subscribed to one of our two lists. But be prepared because we're going to be going back into these really strongly in the next couple of weeks, and we're very excited to get there. And I know we're getting close to wrapping up, but one last thing, because I'd be remiss without announcing it. For those of you who have not subscribed to INE yet, we have one of our coolest deals going on that we do every year. It's Boogo.
Oh my God.
Team loves Boogo. So Boogo is back, and we are offering premium subscriptions, 2 years for $9.99, which is a tremendous deal. You can lock it in, and with all of the amazing new labs that we're going to be adding, whether you're a cybersecurity person or you're cloud or networking, and honestly, you really can't do cloud without really thinking about security or networking. So you're really all three if you're in the cloud space. It's a great time to sign up, take advantage of the Boogo, and then stay tuned because, like I said, we will be having some really cool introductory offers if you are an INE customer or a Pentester customer to be able to come and experience both platforms. So sign up, stay tuned.
I do have to say your graphics team outdid themselves with this one this year. I've seen a lot of other Boogos in the past that INE has done. Your graphics team has really outdone themselves this year.
If you haven't seen the videos yet that have been posted, on my team, Crystal, Jason, Ashton, Emma, Rayanne, Britt, I want to make sure I give as many shout outs as possible. They've had so much fun putting together some of the graphics and the videos. So check them out. And sign up. And also for current customers, we've heard you. Give us a couple days, but we also have some really cool current customer promotions that are going to be in the works, and we hope to get out really soon.
Awesome. As Scott alluded to, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to send this around to the panel for one last round of comments. Vivek, over to you. Any last closing thoughts? What do you want the audience to walk away with and remember when they go about their day or their weekend?
Yeah, so I think, both Pentester Academy and INE customers, subscribers, free users, I would actually say that, there's something great about to come. All of us are working super hard to make sure that we can now come up with even better and more next generation labs for you very, very soon. So stay tuned. We are super excited. We are firing on all cylinders and working absolutely hard to make sure this is going to happen very, very soon.
Scott, I know that if we were to do like one of the traditional, debate polls, we'd see that you had the most airtime of anybody here. But with that being said, you got any closing thoughts that you want everybody to walk away with as well?
Our mantra has always been hands-on, and we plan on doubling and tripling down. So I hope all of you are excited to see what we are able to release next.
Awesome. 100,000 people sitting in Starter Pass. I can't even believe we are saying that number. That is amazing. For those people who are sitting in Starter Pass, I want to, as Chief Content Officer, personally thank you for trusting INE with your education and with your career development. I couldn't be more prouder of the instructor cadre that we have. Trying to help make you an expert from our experts that we have on staff. I want to thank Vivek for obviously the months and months and months that we've been in this endeavor. I know it's been a long time coming. To say that I am hyped for this and to say that I'm hyped for the future of training both across cybersecurity, cloud, DevOps, networking, everything. Is the most understated thing that I could say on this entire live stream. I think for me, thank you very much for being patient. Thank you very much for building such an awesome platform. Thank you to your entire team for the support and the dedication that they have given to making Pentester Academy awesome. Welcome everybody who is Pentester Academy student, everybody from the Pentester Academy team. We welcome you onto the team. We are super looking forward to that. And with you, I'm gonna send you guys off to the green screen. I'm gonna go ahead and close out with chat here really quick. INE Live folks, thank you so very much for tuning in for a very, very special Friday morning INE Live. As always, my name is Neal Bridges. Thank you for joining me. And listen, we are committed. We are committed as a team to making you an expert and providing you the best hands-on labs, hands-on content, cognitive content that we can to make sure that your career is taken care of. I am so thankful that you trust us with that. Promise you, we're going to do our best not to let you down. I look forward to seeing you on the platform. I look forward to seeing you in INE community. Y'all have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next time.